All right, we are live, Washington WREIA 2023. And as we get started, I'll let folks kind of click on their link and kind of join us. As always, if you join us and you want to say hello to folks, feel free to make any kind of comments as you come into the room and as you join us. If not, if you just want to sit back and listen, that is fine too. So I hope everyone had great holiday season. As I said in the email, hope it's not too late to wish everybody a happy new year. We certainly did get started a little bit later this year, being kind of close to the end of January. It's hard to believe how fast this month has gone. We haven't had any cold weather. I don't think I've even worn a jacket yet, so it doesn't quite feel like January. But here we are in the new year, 3 weeks in. So hopefully a lot of you are out certainly starting to see some progress in your business, starting to see some progress in your resolutions. Hopefully some of you haven't quit those already. So we're here tonight. We're going to have a good discussion. We're really focused on kind of a series, if you will. We're going to do kind of a 3-part series on some of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight, and we'll tell you a little bit more about those as we go along. Again, if you're joining us, feel free to come on in, say hello. Happy to have folks with us as we start 2023. We've been at Washington WREIA now for a number of years. I think we're going on 20 plus years of doing this meeting every single month. For many years, we did it twice a month, once in Maryland, once Virginia. As the pandemic hit, we've been online now for a couple of years, and we do have some plans to come back in person. Sometimes when you wake up on a cold January morning, though, it does feel good to know that you're not going to go out late at night and fight the weather. Paul, good to see you. Magdalene, good to see you. Hope everything is good in your world. As I said, we're going to kind of do a 3-part series as we start Washington WREIA for 2023. And let me give you a little bit of background on kind of how we came up with this subject and why we're going to even spend any time on this over the next few months. As many of you know that have been around a while, we take off December. I just feel like a lot of folks are running around and busy, and we had just allow that time for people to kind of catch up with their families, catch up with all the different things going on. But it does give us some time to sit back and think about the previous year, sit back and talk to folks in our network, kind of see how people's year went, what they're looking forward to in the new year. If you've listened to me at all, you know I try to use that time in our business to sit down and look back, look at our deals that we completed, look at our deals that were successful, look at a few deals that weren't so successful, and really try to target our new year into what makes sense. And I encourage other people to do that too. It also gives me a time to talk with people on the phone, also time to grab a cup of coffee with a number of you and just talk to you about your businesses and see how you're doing and what's going on and where you want to go. And it seemed like through those meetings and through those phone calls and through text exchanges and email exchanges, it just always seems to me, especially this past year, that people are just kind of frazzled, meaning they're just kind of all over the place. Now, Washington WREIA attracts a lot of different types of investors. We have folks in person and online that have done hundreds and hundreds of deals. We have folks that have accomplished quite a bit. They own rental properties. They bought, renovated, and sold properties. They've used their tax-free exchange, their tax-deferred IRA accounts to build up retirement accounts. So we have a wide range of people. We also have a lot of folks that are just starting out in the real estate business. We have people that have never done a deal. We have people that have been coming to meetings for a number of years that haven't done anything, and all that's fine. But one of the things that I pick up every December is that people seem to be all over the place. They don't seem to really have a good understanding of what they want to do in the business and where they want to go. And so I thought a good place to start this year is kind of at the beginning. And we titled this, and I hope you enjoyed some of those emails that we sent out, but we titled this Small Investor. You know, where does small investor begin, if you will, and really talking about focus. Now, the one thing I want to make sure everybody understands, when we talk about small, we're not talking about your businesses are small and your businesses are not profitable and you don't make any money. It's the opposite of that. It's starting out somewhere. It's starting out small. It's allowing you to have the ability to get started in the business. It's allowing you to really focus on something so you can grow your business to whatever heights you want to grow. And again, I refer back to some of the emails when we talk about like a Starbucks, for example. He didn't start out, okay? Howard Schultz didn't start out, the founder of Starbucks, did not start out with thousands and thousands of store in every corner across the globe. He started out with one small store serving coffee in Seattle, Washington. And now, when you go into a Starbucks, and you can almost go any city in the world almost and find a Starbucks, you can order coffee, you can order dessert, they have sandwiches, they have all sorts of options. That has expanded tremendously over time. And we can do the same thing as real estate investors. My point being is we have to start somewhere. When so many of you want to start real estate investment, you're all over the place. You want to wholesale, and you want to buy notes, and you want to buy a multi-unit building, and you think buying, renovating, selling a house would be kind of cool. So tonight, I kind of just want to start at the beginning. And I hope through this process, through this 3-month process, this will really give you an idea, if you will, on where to begin and where to begin. And also for those of you that are already knee deep in the business, I know we have a lot of folks that are quite successful in real estate. These talks are for you too. And I'll kind of explain that. So if you're just starting out, your first step, right, is you need to decide which area of real estate is going to be your primary focus in 2023. Where are you going to focus your efforts and your talents and your abilities in 2023? If you're already involved in the business, if you're already doing deals, the goal of these talks for you is to kind of look back again, take a little time, and where is your most lucrative deals happening? Where do you enjoy the most? In other words, maybe you did a buy, renovate, and sell deal in Arlington and you made quite a bit of money. But did you enjoy that process? Is that something that you want to pursue? Is that something you want to build on? Or would you rather maybe focus on another area of real estate? Maybe you're a real estate agent and you really enjoy working with buyers and sellers, and you find more enjoyment in that aspect versus buying, renovating, and selling a property. So that's kind of my point. But before we start any of this, as I was putting some of this together, and folks, I have like 13 to 15 pages of notes. So I had to remind myself to focus too, and to kind of bring this down a little bit into 3 or 4 pages so we have enough time to go through everything. But one of the things I want to start with that I saw that I kind of like this gentleman. Some people don't, some people do. His name is Mark Cuban. A lot of you know him, I guess, from TV, from the Shark Tank. I know him a little earlier because he owns the Dallas Mavericks, and many of you know I'm a big sports fan and basketball fan. So I've always kind of been fascinated with Mark Cuban. He seems kind of like a down-to-earth guy that has done incredibly well on a lot of different types of businesses. And you'll see him, if you're on social media, or you'll see him on the internet posting different things. But he posted something I thought was great for tonight. And it talked about just 4 keys to becoming a millionaire, or 4 keys to success. And I thought these were really, really apropos to our talk tonight. So I want to start this evening with some of these. The first thing is, he said, find something that you're good at and become great at it. And that might sound very, very simple and counterintuitive to a lot of what the management gurus say these days. A lot of people say, focus on your weaknesses and learn how to improve your weaknesses. Well, he's going the opposite way. And some other people have said the same thing. Really find what you're good at and find what you enjoy. And then just explode on that. Just really, really focus your talents in something that you're good at, because again, it's enjoyable. It doesn't feel like work. You like it. You're good at it. You can get better at it, but intuitively, you're pretty good at it. Number 2, and I love this one, and I do believe this, is you got to learn and know how to sell. Now, again, he's talking about how to, begin businesses, how to become a millionaire. Not everybody likes to sell, but remember, you can learn how to sell better. If you're an introvert or an extrovert, there's different strategies, different classes, different techniques to learn how to sell. And I believe in the real estate business that is a people business. Most businesses are, is that you have to have the ability to connect. You have to have the ability to understand people, understand human nature, learn how to overcome objections if you really want to have a long-term successful career. Now, let's just say you're completely opposite of that. Maybe you're an engineer mindset. You're not a salesman. Now, again, he didn't say you have to be a brilliant salesman or the best salesman in the world. You just have to know how to sell. So maybe if that is just something that is counterintuitive to your personality and you have no interest in that, number one, you take some classes toward that, and or you find someone within your organization pretty quickly that knows how to sell, because I do think that's important. Number three, you talked about being curious and always learning. Again, I think that's just fabulous advice. I mean, let's always be curious, no matter how old you are or how young you are. Let's always be learning. None of us, are the best real estate investor in the whole wide world. If we were, that would be great. But even those folks, I'm sure, are always learning things. We learn through deals, we learn through experience, we learn through, again, just being curious, just open to new ideas, open to new avenues to make money, open to new techniques, open to new technologies, which is hard sometimes. Excuse me. So I think you always have to be curious and you always got to keep learning. Finally, he said, get to know your business better than anyone. Let me take a drink of water here. And when you dig a little deeper into this, what he's really talking about is, again, if you enjoy what you're doing and you're good at it, you really want to learn all aspects of your business. So when you're talking to someone, maybe that's new or a novice or a homeowner or a mortgage banker or whoever, you need to know your business inside and out. You need to know all aspects of it. So really focus in on understanding what you're trying to accomplish and your business. I've been in real estate now for 30 years. I love it still today. I still am always reading articles on business and finance and real estate and acquisitions and anything really I can get my hands on. I still really, really enjoy it. So if you're going this route too, I would encourage you to continue to learn and continue to get better, continue to understand more than what's going on in today's world. Because things do change. We all know that. Markets change, techniques change, technologies change. The newer generation, I'd say the younger generation comes up with some really innovative ideas. And we have to be open to that and incorporate some of that into our business. So those four things, I just wanted to start out. I think it's a good thing to kind of remind ourselves. I'm sure there's 10 other success traits of millionaires, but I thought that was really, really interesting. So going back now, if you're just starting, our focus tonight, you have to decide which avenue you're going to take for real estate investment. And if you're already involved, you have to decide which avenue your focus is going to be in 2023. Where is your prime focus? So when you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about this. And when you go to bed at night, you're thinking about this. Now, before you pick your interests, okay? Before you pick your interest, there's a question on there if you want to join us and let us know. One of your favorite entrepreneurs or favorite business person that motivates or inspires you, throw it on the screen. Throw it on the screen. Let us know. I do like guys like Mark Cuban. They just seem authentic to me. He's not too bombastic. He certainly is strongly opinionated. But I think he is someone that's really interesting. And again, remember, some of this, if you want to throw one on, it doesn't have to be someone famous. It could be someone in your community that's done very well. It could be your father or mother, or it could be a teacher, a professor, or somebody that you've kind of learned from. But it's good to have people that you kind of follow, if you will. It's very easy in today's world, and just kind of respect and kind of look for their kind of different opinions on different things and how they set up their businesses and so forth. It's really kind of interesting. All right, as we go and pick our interests here, let me this is your homework, so you can scribble these down or just remember them and answer them as we go. But I'm going to give you 5 questions to answer. Okay, and I think this will lead you hopefully to some area of real estate that interests you and that you can go. Dominic, you said Sam Zell. Sure. Sam Zell, big commercial real estate investor, developer. Also always seems to be really, really great on timing of markets. He's a big timing of market guy. So that's a good one to follow. All right. The first question is, take time this week, some point, and just write down what you're good at and what you enjoy and what you're interested in. So those 3 things. What are you good at? What does not feel like work to you? And what are you interested in? Again, we're kind of focused on the real estate side of business. So what area of real estate, you've always kind of wanted to pursue. And what are you good at? When I first got started, folks, I didn't know what I was good at. I know I wanted to own a small business. I was in my mid 20s. I had a lot of experience negotiating because I owned a painting contracting business. So I was a pretty good negotiator. I like deals. I like finding, getting a painting deal, if you will. A painting job was always rewarding at that point because I knew that was going to allow me to grow my business and feed my family. So what are you good at? And just be broad. Think through that. What is something that you kind of enjoy? That's number one. Number two, this is a big one because a lot of people get in real estate investment business and they don't understand this, but how much time do you have to devote to this business? I mean, if you're, in your mid 40s, you got 3 kids, you got a full-time job, maybe you're married, maybe you're not, maybe you're divorced, I don't know. Maybe you have a partner in life, but good chance you're running hard. You probably have a lot of kid activities. You probably have certainly commitments at work. Now, again, I know some of the work from home has allowed people to free up a little bit of time, but basically you're really, really busy. Or maybe you're a young person, and I say young person, someone in their 20s, and maybe you're, living the 20s life and you're working full time and you're out at night and you've got activities on the weekend. You have to decide how much time you have to devote to this business because this is going to lead you to the path where you need to start. Again, remember, this is not where you finish. This is where you're starting. Those of you already involved, how much time are you spending on this business? Are you spending quality time? Is there an ability to maybe spend a little more time, maybe come in the office a little earlier, maybe work a little later, maybe schedule some Saturday mornings where you can focus on the area of investment that you're most interested in to increase your revenue this year? So you have to decide on that time factor. Okay, what if you're retired and 60 plus? I'll get to that. Come back to me with a better comment that what if you're retired and 60 plus? What area of interest, time? Give me a little more specifics on that and I'll answer that. Are you interested in this part-time or full-time? Okay, so if you're retired and 60 plus, maybe this is a part-time business. Give me a little more thought on that and I'll answer that question. The next question is, so what are you interested in? What are you good at? How much time do you have to devote to this? Are you interested in full-time or part-time? Okay. And next, are you educated in this area that you're eventually going to decide on? I'll give you some of these areas of, we're going to kind of break it down into 3 major areas for this quote unquote small investor. But are you educated? And again, if you're not educated, folks, number one, you got to devote some time, early time, to get educated. And if you're already experienced and you want to add another layer to your business, another focus, something that is missing. When I was going, crazy and running around and doing as many renovations as I possibly could, I knew I had to add a layer of the self-directed IRA. I mean, I heard about it. I never took time to get educated on it. And I knew it was important for the long-term net worth, if you will, of my business. I was investing in Fidelity and some funds, and it really wasn't getting much return. But I took time. I read about it. I went out to Las Vegas. I spent close to, I think, $10,000 on a week-long seminar with someone that was very respected in the industry. And that was kind of my launching point off, if you will, to get going on my self-directed IRA. This made a huge difference in my business. So you need to get educated. You certainly can hire me. And I say that a lot of you know I mentor. Very low cost mentoring. If you want to hire me to get educated in any aspect of this, let us know. We'll throw our number on the screen here, and many of you already have it. So you got to get educated. And then finally, you've heard this many times whenever you're doing a new endeavor, is why. Why are you doing this? What is the ultimate goal? So Success by Fire said, what if you're retired and 60 plus? Full time. I still don't know what the what is. So tell me what the what is for the question, and I'll be happy to answer that out for you. But why are you doing this? What's the reason? Okay. When I first got started, there was a very basic reason. I was looking for a full-time career. I owned a painting contracting business that I knew I did not want to be my full-time business and career. And I was searching and I was looking. And I wanted a full-time gig. I not want part-time. Now, on the flip side, my son is 23 years old. graduated from college. He's working for a larger government contractor as a what they call a scrum master, basically a project manager of people that are on the software development side. He eventually wants to go very soon to the software development side, but he doesn't have any interest in real estate as a full-time endeavor. He's saving, putting some money aside, and at some point, I will encourage him to look at real estate as part of a wealth building net worth plan. He's not going to probably ever do real estate full time, but could he own some rental properties? Could he own some notes? Could he set up a small self-directed IRA and start investing with other investors? Sure. Right now, he's living the 23-year-old life. They're focused on working and having fun on the weekends, right? But eventually, as he gets a little more experience, as he gets a little more capital or cash together, some savings together, as people start moving out, moving up, moving on, and maybe he's ready to start doing a little more different type of investing, real estate will definitely, in my opinion, be part of his long-term wealth plan. So that's why I asked, why are you doing this? What's the reason? Is it for retirement? Gentleman right here says he's retired. Maybe he's doing it for something to do. Maybe he's doing it for additional cash flow as retirement. Maybe he's doing it to build legacy for children or grandchildren. So why are you doing this? So these are very, very easy questions to answer. These are not hard, but they take a little bit of time as you're driving on your commute, or you have a little downtime, maybe at your desk, or whenever you do a little bit of thinking. Write down these questions and answer them. I'll go through them real quick again. All right. Write down what you're good at, what you enjoy, what you're interested in. Real estate investment area fields. How much time do you have to devote to this? Are you interested in this full-time or part-time? Are you educated in the area that you're going to choose? I'm going to go through those few of those choices here in a minute. And why? What's the point? Why you want a 7:00 Zoom meeting talking about real estate on a Monday night in January? What's the reason? Okay. And as you answer those questions, I think it's going to guide you and direct you to an area of real estate that's going to make sense for you. Now, again, if you're already involved in the business, I know we have a lot of people online that are already involved. You can do the same exercise to kind of just rethink maybe what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. And I think that will certainly help you. All right. Next up, how's everyone doing? If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to throw them out. Success by fire. So far, we got, what if you're retired and 60 plus and full time? So I know you're 60 plus, and I know you want to do this full time. You got to tell me the what, and I'll be happy to answer that question. All right, another question: is there a cost to join WREIA? No, there is not. We used to charge just $20 when we were in person. As I said, we'd like to get back in person, and we plan on it. But no, there's no cost to be online and joining us. As you said that, though, in one of our emails, we did talk about the road to 23. 2023. We're looking for 23 success stories. We are going to be hosting something in April, a networking event with 23 people, 23 people that are going to be hand selected as people text us and let us know that they're interested. We're going to find a wide variety of people, and we're going to get together and do a very strong networking event where we can all get to know each other a little bit better. We can all support each other. We all get to this area where we want to go, get to this goal, get to this focus, get to this point where we want to be in 2023. We'll tell you more about that too as we go over the next few months. So your next step after you answer these questions as we move along here is, once you decide, once you have these questions, and once you decide, I'm going to talk about these areas of focus here in a minute, is we need to find people. We need to find people that are doing the things that you want to do. And we want to be a part of their network. We want to be a part of those circles that people are lurking. Okay. For example, if you want to buy, let's say 400,000 square foot shopping centers. All right. And you want a Home Depot anchored or a Wegmans anchored shopping center. Washington WREIA is probably not the place you want to hang out. Sure, you can meet some nice people and you can get some ideas, but this is probably not the network, if you will, if you want to be in the larger commercial real estate network. You want to seek out people that own, right, grocery anchored shopping centers. You want to find out where they're networking. You want to find out where they're gathering and getting together. And you want to network with some of those folks. So whatever you want to do, maybe you just want to buy a couple rental houses. Hey, as you talk to different people at your work or different people in your activities, maybe your church or synagogue or whatever activities that you do, and you find that someone owns, hey, I own 3 rental properties, grab coffee with them, take them out to lunch. If that's what your goal is and what you want to do, those are good people to hang out with. Why? Because they've done it. They're going to tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. So whatever you want to do, you can always find a group, especially now online is so easy, but you can always find a group that is doing that. And you want to be a part of that group. Okay. You want to be a part of them. You want to get to know people in that group. You want to be networking with those people because the resources and the insights and the information you're going to gather from that group is greater than anything you can possibly do on your own. So that's your first little nugget here tonight. As you decide where you want to be, find those folks and hang out with those folks and network with those folks. And, that's where you go. Because a lot of times, folks, the people that you meet or introduce yourself to the real estate investment world are kind of the avenues you take. When I first got started and I knew nothing about any of this, the person I met, Ernie Kessler, was buying, renovating, and selling houses. And he was also doing some coaching and speaking. And I just followed his path because it sounded pretty good. He seemed like he had a pretty good life, and that sounded pretty good to me. But again, you can do this with a little more thought, if you will, and kind of figure out where and what you want to do. So finding those people is very, very important. All right, moving on. Success by fire. I'm still waiting for your what. Maybe you clicked off. But again, if you have any questions or comments, please let us know here. All right, areas to focus. Now, again, small investor focus. Where small investors want to be and focus. When I say small, again, I'm not talking about small the way you define it. I'm talking about niches. I'm talking about focus. I'm talking about getting started. I'm talking about being able to handle this and to grow this accordingly. So we're going to break this down into 3. And really, this is the 3 areas that a lot of people tend to gravitate toward. There's many, many more of these. I'm going to rattle a few off, but these are where we're going to focus. Number 1, and again, some of this depends on the answer to your questions, and some of this depends on some other factors too that I'm going to mention. But they really boil down to these 3. You're going to wholesale real estate. Okay, that's what you're interested in. You're going to learn how to contact owners, tie up property, and flip it immediately. Flip the paper. You're never going to own the property, never going to own the asset. You're going to wholesale the real estate. That's what you're interested in. Number 2, you're interested in buying, renovating, and selling. So you're interested in locating properties, buying it, renovating it, and then selling it for a profit. All right. And number 3, you're interested in buying rentals for cash flow. So really, those 3 answers right now are kind of where we're focused on. So as you answer some of these questions and you think about yourself and you think about your education and you think about the capital you have to spend and you think about your interest level, you're going to pick one of these 3 areas: wholesaling, buying, renovating, selling, or buying rentals for cash flow. Now, you might be sitting there and go, okay, that's great, but I'm interested in becoming a real estate agent. I don't have any interest in wholesaling. I don't have any interest in buying, renovating, and selling houses or owning houses for cash flow right now. That is fine. This whole process is the same. You need to focus in your niche. You need to focus in on what you're going to be focusing on 2023. Now, let me tell you a little bit about kind of how I come to this conclusion and what I would tell a new person right now if they were just starting out. As I said, I followed my mentor, Ernie Kessler, and he bought, renovated, and sold properties. He did a little bit of wholesaling, and he also bought some rentals for cash flow. So I set up my business very similar. For work, for income, for paying my bills, I learned how to buy, renovate, and sell houses. I started out wholesaling a little bit, buy, renovate, sell, and I got very, very good at that. I realized about 3 to 5 years in, I'm going to say about 4 years, let's say about 4 years, I realized at that point that the real wealth in real estate, where I really wanted to be over time, over length of time, was to hold real estate. That's where the wealth is. Right? If you meet guys in their 70s and 80s or 60s, and they've been in the real estate business for a while, their real wealth is in the properties that they held: single family houses, townhouses, condos, buildings, storage units, notes, whatever produces that cash flow. Though that's where the real wealth is, because over time the cash flow increases, the value of the property increases, the debt levels go down, and people are pretty wealthy. Okay, so I followed that same model. I bought, renovated, and sold, and I took some of the profits and I invested in rentals. Okay, and this day I own single family houses, I own land, I own commercial property, I own a couple multi-unit buildings, and that has played out for me very well. All right. Now, if I was just starting now, and the reason, folks, I didn't push to some of the other areas of real estate, mainly kind of the cash flow, if you will, owning a lot of rental properties, was this area never really set up for that. This area was not like Texas. I would go to seminars when I first got started, sitting next to people, and they would look at me and they'd say, "Yeah, I own 50 properties." I'd be like, 50 properties? How in the world do you own 50 properties? You're like 28 years old. Well, I come to find out that each of those properties they bought was worth anywhere from 15 to 20, $25,000 back then. If I owned, two properties, they were each worth 200 grand. I basically had about, almost the same amount of properties they had. It was just the value of the property, but they were in their market, and it allowed them to better finance and buy some of these properties and create this cash flow. So again, sometimes you fall into what you know and who you meet. That's why I say meeting people in the area that you want to kind of head toward is very important. But if someone approached me today, and I'll use my own family as an example, I said my older son graduated from college. He's kind of off and running. Real estate will probably be a wealth vehicle for him as an investment, just like my older brother has. But my young son, who just started college, he's shown some interest in real estate and real estate investment. I have no idea where I'll end up after 4 years, I guess, 3.5 more years of college. I have no idea, because people change between the years of 18 and 22. Maybe he'll discover something else that he wants to pursue. But at this point, he has shown a little bit of interest in real estate. And if he showed more interest, or he says, I really want to pursue this full time, where should I start? Folks, I would walk him through a lot of these same questions I'm walking you through. Obviously, I know him very well. He's my son. I would know some of his strengths, some of his weaknesses, and I would point him in a direction where I think he could really kind of use those strengths. But if I had to pick an area of interest for him right now, and I had to do it all over again, I would lead him more down the cash flow rabbit hole, if you will, more the cash flow part, especially when he's really young, where he doesn't need a lot of money, doesn't need a lot of income. I would probably really focus him, something I've kind of always been interested in, I've never pursued heavily, but I would push him hard, is I would identify 4 or 5 college towns around the country based on the states, based on kind of their landlord tenant laws. And I would push him to be buying some of these college rentals. And I would I would get him to live very cheaply for a first few years and build up his cash flow, where he could live on that cash flow and then just leverage that as much as he could. I would focus him on learning how to raise private capital and buying some of these properties that college students are renting as juniors and seniors in some of these college towns. I think it's a wonderful way for not only being in the real estate investment business, but produce very healthy returns. Now, maybe you graduate into small apartment buildings. Maybe you graduate into luxury college housing, which is a big thing now in some of these areas where parents want to put their kids into, very nice housing. So you do a lot of different luxury updates for them, and you can charge for that. That's where I would focus him based on, I know what his interests are and some of his strengths. I would focus him in some of those areas. So again, it just depends on you and depends on your personality. So when you answer these questions and you sit down this week, I want you to pick that area: wholesale, buy, renovate, sell, buy rentals for cash flow, or something that's interests you. Maybe you want to become a real estate agent. Maybe you want to lend money. You want to become a private investor. Maybe you want to buy notes. Maybe you want to buy good notes. Maybe you want to buy bad notes. I'm not going to decide with you. I only have limited time. So I'm kind of limiting the 3 areas that I know are very popular, where a lot of investors start. Because I run into too many people that say, my first question, well, what do you want to do? Or what are you doing? And they rattle off 19 things and they've never done anything. Don't do that. Pick one area that you're interested in. Okay. Now we have that area. And we're going to keep going here. All right. So after you have that area, here comes the focus part, right? some of our emails were kept talking about focus. Focus is one of the greatest things you can incorporate into your life to accomplish a lot. Okay. So now I want to be a wholesaler. All right. I want to be a wholesaler. And I'm working with, and I see Harvey, I see a few people that I've mentored, and we're going through some of this as we speak. But I want to be a wholesaler. So let's focus. How do we focus? Well, we can focus geographically, right? We don't have to say, I want to be a wholesaler in the entire DMV, entire Washington, D.C. metro area, and all the counties surrounding it. Folks, it's too great. You're never going to get started. You're never going to do anything. Focus on a specific geographical area that you think makes sense, that you can identify and control houses, and you can flip those houses to other folks. So you can really focus on a geographical area. And when we say small, bring it down to a zip code. Start with a zip code or two. You don't have to even start with a county or a city. Just get a zip code or two. Because again, the point is you want to learn the process. You want to get to know that zip code. You want to know values. You want to know how many houses are changing hands. You want to know investors and rehabbers and contractors that focus in on those counties. Folks, we're not saying you can't make a lot of money, because you can. And as you get that process down, that's where you expand. Think of Starbucks. Think of Virgin, one of the things was Virgin Industries with Richard Branson. He didn't start with his empire that he has today. He started out with one record store in London that just blew up. Okay. So don't be limited in your thought. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just saying start smaller, start with a niche, start with something you can handle, and then you can expand and go on. So you can focus geographically. You can also focus with your end customer in mind. We sent out that NAR report. If you haven't clicked on that, folks, the amount of information in that is tremendous. It gives you all sorts of statistics that you can look at. Maybe your end customer is what you're focused on. So let's go back to wholesaling. Maybe you decide that, hey, I want to flip my houses to landlords, people that want to own properties long-term for rentals. Folks, that those people will pay you more than I would as a buy, renovate, and sell guy. Why? Because they're holding the property long term. So very simple little thing. Wholesale. You pick 20743, Capitol Heights. Okay. 20743. And that's where you're going to try to find properties. Then you go back and you hire a realtor, or you do it yourself, and you identify every landlord that owns a rental property in 20743. Now you have your list of end buyers. You get a contract, you get a house under contract. And again, we'll go through obviously how you do that. But now you have one in your hand. Now you have this list of, let's just say 50 landlords in that, and let's focus it down even more. Maybe it's in Pepper Tree Village. All right. So now you've identified 7 landlords in Pepper Tree. Okay. Peppermill. All right. 7 landlords. So now you take that house and you email or you phone call or you contact those 7 landlords. You say, listen, I have a house, this address, it's worth $360. Again, landlords in that neighborhood are going to agree with you. They always think their houses are worth more than they are. And you can buy it for X. They're going to pay you more than if you pay a buy, renovate, sell person, because we have more costs. We have more expenses. So folks, that's what we mean about going small and focusing. You can drill this down where you can make higher profits per deal. Okay. So that end customer might be advantage. Let's talk about buy rentals for cash flow. I just said, maybe the end customer is a college student. Therefore, I'm not going to buy houses out in Urbana, right? No, not near any college. I'm going to buy them in College Park, or I'm going to buy them around a college where the cash flow makes sense. I'm going to identify those colleges. I'm going to identify those states, identify those cities, and that's going to be my focus. And then I already have my built-in end customer, the college student, and I'm going to figure out how to advertise within the university or in the some of the boards, the social media boards there for rental housing. That's what I mean. You have your end customer in mind. Let's talk about a buy, renovate, and sell. Maybe your end customer, maybe you'd rather. My end customer is first-time home buyer in working class neighborhoods. I know it by heart. I also know the type of renovations that I do in order to attract that type of buyer. I don't go crazy. I don't have to put every surround sound in every house. I don't have to do crown molding. I don't have to do a recessed lighting in every single room. No, I renovate toward my end buyer. And the end buyer is someone that wants their first-time house. They want a nice, clean, safe, updated house. And that's what we do. Okay. Now, if I was appealing to a luxury buyer, let's say in Capitol Hill or Georgetown, I would have to do extra renovations in order to attract that buyer. If I put in, a lower end kitchen or a kitchen that works in a $350,000 house, I'm going to have to up my game if I'm looking for the $1.3 million, $1.4 million buyer. So when you have that end customer, this is going to lead you down the path to be that niche, to be what you can do. I can do my renovations in my sleep now because I use all the same materials, all the same paint colors, okay, all the same vendors. That allows you to grow and to expand and to do more deals. Price range, another focus, right? Do you want to be low end, medium, high end? Do you want a working class rental or do you want a higher class rental? Now you got to make the numbers work, okay? Type of renovator. What do you want to be? I just said I'm a production renovator. I want all my houses to basically look the same. Now, again, you have a one-off here or there. And quite honestly, folks, when I got out of my lane, when I started doing higher price renovations, when I started doing some condo conversions, when I started doing some mixed use buildings in Baltimore, honestly, when I look back, those are the deals, and I'm in one now where I haven't done as well because I got out of my lane. I got out of stuff that I know very, very well. Now, again, these were part of partnerships, that didn't always work as well. And they were in areas where I probably shouldn't have been, meaning it's not my expertise. So again, your focus can be so wide ranging, and we're going to drill some of that down as we go through this few months. But you have to decide that, and you can decide that now. Remember, this can change, this can grow, but starting out, understanding what you want to do, understanding where you want to be, how much time you have, how much capital you have, how much education you have, will dictate to where you want to start and where you want to be in 2023. So again, you can go backwards and identify this target market. It's no problem. Find the property that will meet the needs of that end user. Okay. I talked to a guy this weekend. It was fascinating. 26 years old, graduated from University of South Carolina. And we started talking. He asked me to do it. And we started talking about real estate. And he said, I took some real estate classes at University of South Carolina. I'm really interested. And I've been doing pretty well. I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I read online that hedge funds were buying rentals all throughout the Southeast. And he identified different markets. And he goes, what I do now is I try to find these houses on the phone. He's on the phone trying to put deals together. And I'm flipping them to the hedge funds. And I said, you having any success? He says, yeah, I'm doing pretty well for a 26-year-old. I'm doing fine. He says, ultimately, my goal would be to buy, a couple long-term rental properties, some apartment buildings and so forth. But that's a classic example. It just hit me right in the head. I mean, this guy is targeting, he's niching, he's not trying to reinvent the wheel. He's doing what he has time for. He's doing what his capital allows him to do. And he's putting together deals. He's getting experience. He's seeing the process work, putting money in the bank. It's exactly what you want to do. Same with rental properties, college housing, disabled housing, housing for veterans. You can do all these things where you can target and niche it. Maybe Section 8. I have a friend, Dominic, that is one of his goals is to put together some lower rental properties, lower cost rental property, and put Section 8 in them. Make sure they're safe, make sure they're nice houses, and put Section 8. He believes, and I agree with him, that his cash flow will be greater, and he can find the property managers or manage them themselves, and be on his way. Bruce, recommendation for best self-directed IRAs custodian advisor. I have one, hands down. Okay, it's Mid-Atlantic IRA. Mid-Atlantic IRA. They're based in Frederick. Okay, based in Frederick. And you can call them or email them, set up an appointment. They'll do an hour free consultation, and they will set you up. The reason I went with Mid-Atlantic, okay, now their fees in a lot of these IRA administrators are similar, but I like them that they're somewhat local. Now I'm based in here in Bethesda, but right up to 70, if I ever get in trouble, I can go up there and I can talk to them. I can structure the deal correctly. And I like that there's someone I can talk to versus a IRA administrator in Colorado. I work with some investors that have one in Colorado, one in Ohio, one in Texas. I like them to be local. When I came back in 2001 or so from that convention in Las Vegas, all right, it was given by a very popular IRA administrator, and a lot of people were going through them. I went with Jack Kiley, actually his name at Mid-Atlantic, because he was local. He's a CPA, he's an accountant, he's very knowledgeable about real estate, and I highly, highly recommend him. If you go up there, just tell him John Peterson referred him, and someone up there will take care of you. So Mid-Atlantic IRA. Okay, so again, as a renovator, again, as cash flow, you can identify your market, and as a renovator, you can too. I've said this for many, many times for people. My bulk of my properties are in first time home buyer neighborhoods, and a lot of them are quote unquote working class. Um, so if I'm going to any city across the country, I'm identifying what does a first time home buyer pay for a house. And those are the neighborhoods that I'm targeting my marketing and I'm targeting my efforts if I want to buy, renovate, and sell houses in those areas. That's what I found. Now, again, there's always one off. There's always the house in Bethesda or the house in, you know, um, different parts of the area that are more expensive. But generally, most of my projects are there. Okay. So that's going to help you. Now, as we go forward, as we talk about marketing, as we talk about financing, as we talk about exit strategies in the next few months, it's all going to be based around this focus. Because just think about marketing. I'm going to give you a little heads up for next month. Think about marketing. If you know who your end user is, right? If you know who that person is, imagine, as you're targeting, imagine how you can formulate your marketing strategies, all of that language, all of that knowledge of and again, through that report that we put out. I mean, you get so many statistics on your end user and your customer that you're going to be able to target your marketing right to that person. I told you this in the fall, and I'll tell you now, it's no secret, is I've looked back at my deals over the past 2-3 years. Folks, I'm amazed at how many hospital beds I've seen in bedrooms. It's unbelievable. I'm buying 90% of my buy, renovate, and sells from older people. I'm buying them, the people, excuse me, either going into assisted living centers. I'm buying them from the children that are thinking about putting them in assisted living centers. And I'm also buying them from people that unfortunately have passed away. But my market right now, for whatever reason, has been older folks. Well, I kind of know why it is, and I can share that with you another time. But that's where my marketing is. So all of my marketing is geared toward that niche. I have a permission marketing piece called the 20 the 20 best questions to ask assisted living centers, and I'm marketing that to people that own houses, right? That are older homeowners, because I know a lot of them are thinking about, okay, do I need to one day go into assisted living center? Or the kids are saying, hey, my parents are getting older. This 2-level colonial is getting dangerous for them. And we have to start looking at assisted living. Okay. And so when they see my report, it gives me the opportunity to start a conversation and a dialogue with them and start talking about, the questions that they might have for the assisted living center. Listen, I've been through it. A lot of you know, both my parents passed away in the last, 6 to 10 months now. And we went through the same thing. They, unfortunately didn't make that transition, and they should have. They should have made it earlier. But I know a lot of people are in that same situation. But those are the houses that I'm buying. So why am I not, marketing toward that audience? And you can do the exact same thing. This is not rocket science. So when we say small and we say focus, we're not saying don't make any money and, we're trying to minimize this business. Folks, you can do very, very well. And many of you know this in real estate investment. But I want to get you off the dime, if you will. I want to get you so you're not so scattered. I'm looking for 23 people, as I said, 23 people this year that we can share success stories with. Maybe you're going to go buy your first rental house. Maybe you're going to do a buy, renovate, and sell. Maybe you're going to take your wholesale business from 5 deals a year to 15 deals a year. There's wholesalers out here. Some of you know them. They're doing hundreds of deals a year. So the sky's the limit. And I'm sure their goal is to do 1,000 deals this year. So whatever your mindset is, whatever your goals are, whatever your aptitude is for risk, and whether how big a business you want to build, it's out there in real estate investment. But we need to focus. We need to start small. And I say small, either geographically, know your end customer. Okay. And don't be so scattered in all the different techniques that you're going to conquer in the next 3 weeks when you don't know anything about anything in real estate investment. So I hope some of this is helpful. If you have any more questions, you can certainly let us know. Again, as I said, we're going to focus on kind of this broad subject, if you will. We're going to start narrowing it down more and more in the next few months. In April, we're going to do this a networking event. We hope to have 23 different folks, if you will, with different ideas, attend this so we can all really help each other achieve our goals. Okay, success by, okay, here we go. What if I have little to no knowledge of the industry and want to make real estate investment my 10-year wealth building vehicle. Finally, we got the what, right? We got the what. Appreciate it. Okay. Very simple question. You got to get educated. How do you want to get educated? Now, I've told you many times, you can hire me. I can educate you for relatively little money. But if you don't want to spend any money, you have the world out there. You have YouTube. You have so much information on real estate investment out there on the internet. So Success by Fire, my challenge to you is, and I hope maybe you're one of the 23, my challenge to you this week, in the next few days, okay, is to go through those questions I mentioned and come up with a strategy that you want to pursue for your wealth building. If you want to wealth build, so you can do any three of those we mentioned. You could learn how to wholesale real estate, take those chunks of money and reinvest it into something. Maybe it's a stock fund. You could have a goal of owning, 5 rental properties, free and clear, generating you a minimum of $5,000 to $7,000 a month in free cash flow. You could take that money, reinvest it in something else, or you could learn how to buy, renovate, and sell houses. The average buy, renovate, and sell house right now in the market, folks, because of our price range, I've told you this for a while, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. We've cashed some $70,000 checks in the last few months. In fact, we're going to cash a $100,000 check coming up in early February and a buy, renovate, and sell. So the money's still out there. Success by Fire, you do 2 or 3 of those a year. Let's start small. You have $250,000 of free cash flow. Take that money, buy some rental houses, buy maybe a REIT if you like, maybe you buy a note. There's so many different ways, but you have to decide, and then you have to decide, how do you want to get educated? I'm offering you right now, I can help you. I offer mentoring services on any level, very basic to a lot more sophisticated. It's kind of up to you. I do. Bert Time Smith, do I offer one-on-one consultation? I absolutely do. You just, on the screen, you just text your mentor to me, and I can follow up with you, can kind of tell you, get a little more information from you, and figure out a program that will work for you. It will not break the bank. I'm not here to break the bank. I've been doing this a long time, and hopefully some of you will be part of this 23 that we're talking about, and you'll look back on the night and go, okay, this was the night that I finally decided I'm going to focus, I'm going to start, I'm going to understand the process, and then I'm going to build this business over long term. And long term can be 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, however long you decide. It's all up to you. Okay. So again, hope this is helped you. Thank you for some of the participation. We're off and running in 2023. January is almost over, so we got to get rocking and rolling. And I hope some of this has helped you. Feel free to comment. Feel free to text me if you like. Ask me some more questions. There you go. George Lucas. Always remember, your focus determines your reality. That is very, very true. You'll be amazed if you put together a little plan this week and you really focus and you really try to drill down what you're trying to accomplish. And you look back on this in December of 2023, you'll be amazed. Now, again, we can help you with the process. We can help you learn how to go about this. We can't do the work for you, though. You got to put the work in. That's why I asked right off, how much time do you have? What's your why? What are you willing to do, part-time or full-time? But with a little bit of focus and a little bit of niching, you can accomplish quite a bit in 2023. So hopefully some of this resonated with you. You got a little something out of it. And we'll be back with you in February. Look for our emails. Reach out to me in the meantime if you need any help. And we'll see you down the road. Thanks so much for joining us. I really do appreciate it. And we'll be in touch. Take care.